You gonna have to take me somewhere better than that. I don't want Cheesecake Factory. In episode number 191, we talking about it, the entitlement of the modern female. This is gonna be good. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? We back at you with another episode of Making a Case. Hey, I'm your host, Dr. Jacob Isom. We got two channel norms over here. One, we attack points in our people. Then two, we don't do all that cussing and derogatory stuff. We'd like to keep it professional over here. Hey, I'm cheesing because I'm doing what I love, right? And to me, that's the biggest thing because, when you do what you love, you do it for free, you do it for $50, you do it for $10,000, right? So I would encourage anybody that's doing this YouTube thing or on the entrepreneurial journey is, man, do something you love to do because even if you're not making any money, it's still worth it because you find some enjoyment from it. All right. That's my little nugget, my little spiel. Let's get into the episode. All right. We're talking about the entitlement of the modern female. I know you've heard about it, right? And I will say this. The reason why that I would make a case that the modern woman is very entitled, and I wouldn't say this about the traditional woman or even women maybe 50, 60 years ago, right? I think with the advent of social media, dating standards have changed. I think with the whole notion of, roles, and the whole idea that women are making more money, which means that their standards even going even higher. The whole feminism, equality movement, right? That changes things. So a lot of things have changed the thing when it comes to modern women because they have a different mindset, right? And when it comes to dating, their mindset have shifted to, well, you need to be able to do this for me because I can do it for myself, right? If I can get a, $350,000, $400,000 house by myself, well, it should be double that, right? I'm just telling you how some people think. Not all, right? But some people do think like that, right? So when it comes to the treatment of a woman, she's thinking I could do bad all by myself. So if you come into my life, you have to double, if not triple that, right? We talk about hypergamy at its finest, all right? So this is what we have in the dating market. And I always say, when women or anybody talk about how dating sucks and dating has changed, well, the reason behind that is women and their dating standards and their entitlement. Okay? So, of course, what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to go through some clips that's talking about the entitlement of modern women. See if you agree or disagree. Of course, you always should let me know in the comments. We had a good conversation from our previous video. You should go check that out. Should we boycott marriage? We had a lot of engagement. Please keep that up. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Why women feel entitled to a good man? You don't deserve anything. You got to earn it.
Okay.
Yep.
And
if it comes easy, is it really worth it?
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Men have to earn their status. Here's the difference, ladies. Men have to earn their status. Women have to earn their man that worked for the status. That's how it goes. You're fighting for his last name, not the other way around. I don't know why women think that they're entitled to like a high value man with money and he's going to be submissive to me and listen to me. No, that's just not the way the world works. Like, I don't know why women feel entitled.
And he's absolutely correct. I know a lot of people is not the biggest fan of Fit or Fresh and Fit, the podcast, right? But you got to call a spade, right? In this case, he's absolutely correct, right? The reason why a lot of women, I would say a lot of women are entitled is because they feel like, every last woman feel like they deserve or are worthy of a good man, right? Regardless of what type of woman they are, right? They feel like they should get the most attractive, most successful men, right? Just because they're a woman. Not that they work for them, not that they're a feminine woman, like, it doesn't matter. Just because I'm a woman, I deserve a good man. And that actually what lends itself to and one of our next videos this week is going to be the faulty thinking of women or just people in general when it comes to dating. That is part of the faulty thinking, right? You believe that you just supposed to get something just because, right? No, you have to work for it. If, like you said, if the man went out there and worked for his status and established himself in his career with the money, with everything else, you have to earn that type of man. Period. Right? Typically, average people get with average people, highly successful people get with highly successful people. So if you one of those people that are punching out your weight class, then you have to compete. I don't get why people don't understand that dating is competing. That's what it is. All right? Let's get into the next clip.
High levels of entitlement permeating out of these women, regardless of what they look like, how inimical their mentalities are, how detrimental their beliefs are, how pernicious their values are. Diluted entitlement has reached an all-time high in these Western women. All-time high levels of entitlement permeating out of these women.
And I know he didn't really get specific, so I'm gonna get specific, right? So when you're talking about, he mentioned Western women, right? The reason why you even hear of a movement called passport bro, where men are going overseas to find them a wife, is because women outside of this Western society understand what men want, right? They was raised in order to please a man, right? Now, don't get it twisted. Men have been trained how to treat a woman, but it typically happens world over, right? We understand we have to protect and provide, right? If we want a family, we understand that we have to provide for the family. I'm not talking about paying 100% of the bills. That's not what I'm talking about. Because particularly in the West, we're talking about women a lot of times who want to work. We're not even talking about who need to have to work. We're talking about women who want to work and want to have a career. So why would you want to have a career when you're going to work and then not have some of your money go to paying some of the bills? It doesn't make sense for a family in a financial situation because most people are taking out student loans. Let's be real. Okay? So the entitlement is that, you know what? I get to be sexually promiscuous out here and you should just take me as I am. I see women all the time saying, you know what? If you don't like big girls, then just keep moving, right? That's the entitlement piece, right? That no matter how big I am, no matter how unpleasant my attitude is, right? No matter how I don't contribute financially, like I'm just supposed to show up and get this date paid for. I'm just supposed to show up and get taken care of. That's the entitlement. Okay? So when you hear me and talk about that, that is what we're talking about. Okay? Let's get to our next clip.
Where you ladies get off talking about, well, I can act right for the right man. You need to act right for the men who built the world that you live in. Because we're all the right men.
Well,
you just need to act better for the one that's taking care of you.
So you expect me to give my all and give my best to
I
someone?
expect you to appreciate the men that built the world around you, that allow you to be able to live in a first world country. The entitlement you guys have.
Well, like, what about the women? What about the women that built that, though? I think what I'm trying to say is that, you know, you can't give your best to someone that doesn't deserve it.
What you just saw was the outgrowth of this modern, womanist, feminist ideal. You want everything. You don't know what the world costs. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you ladies get off.
Man, and of course, I had to show the Godfather, right? That statement was crazy to me, right? Like, so, and she's not the only one, right? The way a lot of these modern women think is that, you know what? No, I'm only going to give a certain amount of respect and treatment to the man that I deem valuable. I'm not going to give every man that respect, right? But I wonder if it worked that same way with women, though. Are you telling women, you know what? Well, you ain't my sister or my auntie. I can't give you the same. No, they don't feel that way, but they feel that way about men, right? So it goes back to the entitlement, right? the conditional femininity we always talk about, right? Well, I'm going to give the best of me to the right man, or I'm not going to give him wifey duties until I'm a wife. It don't make sense. You won't become a wife if you're not acting like one. We've already talked about this in previous video. He who finds a wife. We've talked about this. No need to even go any further, right? But it's the entitlement, right? I'm supposed to have a certain caliber of man, but not put in the same work. I'm going to put in a little work because I am a woman. Hear me roar, right? While the man, like Kevin Samuels said, got to go out and build the world, she just gets to be there and be pretty and expect everything. Crazy to me. Let's get into our last clip.
Compete for that man?
No. Why are we competing for the men?
I have no issue with women having those standards.
Right.
But are you willing to compete with the 90+% of women that also want that same man? Why should he pick you?
Why should he? Right.
No, I'm asking. Why should he? Every 90% of the women said that same thing. Why should he pick? What qualities will make him?
90% of the women is not me.
I can respect that, but you got to tell me the qualities that you have.
Okay.
Because you said I'm me. So
right.
I me stands for something that a man is like, oh, she her.
Man, when you're talking about, like, I just had to shake my head because it's like when women say, I am the table, right? Or I'm a queen. I am this. Like, I don't think a lot of women realize when they hear this from women, whether it's them saying to other women, it's like, there's nothing substantial behind it, right? So when being asked to articulate that, most women can't articulate it, right? Because there's nothing behind it. There's no substance behind it, right? So that's the reason why women don't want to compete, because there isn't, first of all, they're not competitive as a species, right? They don't like to compete like that. Minus, of course, we can set aside the women athletes and stuff like that, and those women who just got a competitive spirit. But most women just want things to fall in their lap, right? So that's one reason why they actually don't want to compete when it comes to dating. But the other real reason is that, like, they know that they're going to lose, right? They don't have nothing to compete with, right? So, and they think that a woman getting a degree and having a higher paying job is actually competing. No, that's not what men want, right? But of course, once again, modern women are not doing it for the right to get one of the best husbands or best boyfriends, right? Modern women are out there gaining success for themselves, for their own ego, right? And then they think that things are supposed to fall into place because they got the career and the job and the house and stuff like that. But once again, they're operating like who? Like a man would. And of course, we're going to continue to have this conversation. We can have it in many different ways. This week is going to be a great slab of conversational topics. So definitely look out for that. But we're going to end the episode right here, man. Y'all already know. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. Look forward this summer. We're going to put out a dating series where all the topics are going to be relating to dating out there from all my single folks, right? Because, of course, not saying that you don't date when you're married, but, you know, we're talking about dating to marry to get to that point, right? All right. Anywho, we'll talk more about that in future episodes. But as always, I am you are me. Love always, love return. Remember, the worst thing you can do is lie to yourself